Hello, everyone. I'm Fox.
And I'm Emily, and we are the Ghoul Fools.
So we wanted to connect the haunters community together by creating a video interview series with various haunters to showcase their talents and their designs.
And what better way to begin this new series than with the master of everything scary, Griffin, or as you may know him, GM Haunts.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is GM Haunts, the man himself, Griffin. Go ahead and introduce yourself if you want and just tell us a little about yourself.
Well, hi, everyone. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for having me. This is an honor. I am very happy to be here. Like they just said, my name is GM Haunts on YouTube. I do Halloween content year-round, 365 days a year, keeping people up to date on what's going on in the Halloween world. Again, very happy to be here. I'm hoping to answer some questions that maybe you guys have and have been wondering about, and I'm very happy to talk to you guys.
Awesome.
Absolutely. This is a privilege and honor, everyone. So we're excited.
Yes.
And we're going to just go right into it. Griffin, the first question we had was just tell us about your YouTube channel and the success that you have found there. What made you start it?
So yeah, my YouTube channel has definitely been an interesting journey and kind of an adventure, honestly, that I didn't know I was going to be going on until just a couple years ago. I started doing my videos. I'm just about ready to hit the 3-year mark. I started in July of 2020. So it was kind of right in the middle of the pandemic. I didn't have a lot to do. I know a lot of people didn't have a lot to do. And with Halloween stuff going on, I was hoping to have a platform to share my thoughts because I've always been watching Halloween stuff for my whole life, but I never really had a way to talk in a grander audience about it. It was kind of all in my head or with my friends or my family, but I wanted to have kind of more people to talk about, more people to share my thoughts with. So I was like, what if I started a YouTube channel?
Yeah.
So I was like, I put a name together. It was like GM Haunts. Like, I just came up with it. It was honestly very simple to come up with.
And it flowed.
And I put together, exactly.
Exactly.
And I just started doing videos and kind of recording my thoughts on things. And at first, I was pretty bad at it. I feel like it's like in the moment when you're doing something, and this isn't only for YouTube videos, but anything creative that you're doing, the first thing you do, you're like, oh, this is so good. Like, I love how it came out. And then like you look back on it like years later and you're like, that was like, I don't even know what I was doing at the time. And it's funny because I look back on what I did then and I'm like, there were so many things I don't like. And I feel like I'm growing each year I do this and learning more how to do this. But really my main purpose, to answer your question, starting my channel was just to have more people talk with all my Halloween stuff about, more people to know, finding people like you who talk about and enjoy the same things that I do. If I didn't do a YouTube channel, I would never come across people like that. And I feel like in those 3 years, I've really done what I've been hoping to do. And I've met a ton of people. I've made a lot of connections. I've been able to do a lot of really cool things like this right here. And things that, again, I wouldn't have never been able to do without a YouTube channel, or things I would have never thought I was going to be able to do. So that's kind of my whole process with the channel.
So it's really bringing people together, which is kind of what we're really excited about. And perfect choice bringing you on first.
Yeah,
excited to get
perfect segue into this because
I agree 100% with the community is definitely a big thing. Like I said, I do this giant haunt. I've done it since I was really young. So like you have been with your collection and stuff. Yeah. And I know what you mean. Absolutely. Like just bringing people together. It's like, it's interesting just being part of community. So I'm very happy to hear that for sure.
Yeah.
Well, perfect. And we'll just move right on into the next question. How did you decide what type of content to make? Like what made you decide on Halloween, the animatronics? Just tell us a little bit about that.
So basically my entire life has been, I kind of want to say like Halloween oriented, I guess. Like really, I've always loved Halloween, and it's always been different aspects. I started loving, the thing that kind of got me onto this crazy life, I guess, was the Spirit Halloween store. I feel like it's the thing. I talk about it a ton on my channel. I feel like a lot of people know, of course, Spirit Halloween. It's just become a staple, I feel like, of the Halloween season. And since I was around 6 years old, I became a huge fan of Spirit Halloween as a company. The first time I ever found one of their stores was when me and my parents were just driving around the town, and I noticed a building that was abandoned had this big banner. It had this huge banner with a Reaper on it. And I was like, I had to know what it was. So I told my parents to pull over, and they told me that it was a Halloween store, but that it wasn't open just yet. We couldn't go inside just yet.
Wait for
I know. And the windows were also blacked out, so I couldn't really know what it was. My curiosity was just sparked by this big banner with a big Grim Reaper on it. So a couple weeks later, we ended up going back to the store when it was now open. And now with the blacked out windows completely gone and the doors open, I could see into the store. And what I saw was a bunch of life-size animatronic clowns. And with that, my curiosity was just like that. It was gone. I didn't even see anymore. Now I was not interested, and I was about ready to go home. So we ended up going home. I was way too afraid to go inside that store, and it took multiple times before Halloween before I was able to step into that store. Every time we went, I would step one more step in just to take a closer look, and eventually I had the courage to walk in, and that was really all it took. I loved it. Once I got in that store and I knew that they were just plastic and metal, they weren't actual monsters. I loved them. And that's kind of why with my channel, it started with that, and then I got more and more into it, and I was more following everything with Halloween. But like I said before, I never had a way to talk about it. It was just kind of an interest of mine. Not even an interest. It was like a crazy obsession almost. It was just so when I was going to do a channel, there was no doubt in my mind it had to be Halloween. It had to be for everything scary, because that's what I loved, and it's what I knew so much about. So that's why I kind of had to go with this.
Absolutely.
That's perfect.
And a little random question here. You mentioned like the Jack the Reaper banner and all that. Did you ever get one of those? You know, you can buy afterwards.
Yeah. So that's actually, it's funny you say that. I have a kind of an interesting thing. So with me, that same store, that same location, with all that happening and kind of me starting to love the company and stepping in the store, me and my family actually became good friends with the manager of that location.
Sweet.
And after a couple months and really getting to know him, at the end of that season, he actually gave me a bunch of signage from the store for completely free, just because he knew that I loved it so much. So I actually do have a bunch of the actual like giant banners that the store uses every year. And as time went on, I actually collected a bunch of them every year. He would just give them to me, because if they're getting thrown out or something, he would just give them to me. And now I have like a full collection of signage and giant banners and Jack the Reaper heads that I kid you not are in my garage right now that are like insane huge, because they're meant for a storefront.
The size of you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing.
I'm jealous. I've always wanted one of those. I tried to get the Pumpkin Factory one. I signed up for that, but those went so fast. I was like the second in every area, so it's crazy. So
That's
jealous
amazing.
on that. But I guess, what would you say is the most rewarding part of being a Halloween YouTuber for you?
Honestly, and it sounds kind of cheesy, but it's really just meeting those people that watch the videos, and even stuff like this. It's like when you do a video and you upload it, and it's like however many views it gets or however many subscribers you have, it's all just numbers on a screen. I'm doing videos and I'm talking in this room by myself to absolutely no one about Halloween monsters. And it's like, it doesn't click in your mind that those are people that are connecting with you and watching it and sharing those videos. And then when you go to events or when you do stuff like this, so when I'm invited to do interviews or talk to people like you guys, it really clicks that these are people that are watching your videos and are doing it. So when it comes to what's the most rewarding thing, whenever I have those interactions with the people who tell me I watch your videos and I get my info from watching you, it really hits home that like everything I do and all the time I put in, it is 100% worth it, because you're connecting with people on a different level. And again, it's, even though you might just be talking to yourself, you're really talking to an audience of people who really want to watch Halloween stuff and love the same things you do. So it is 100% getting to connect with people, talk to people, and just hear that anyone watches your videos, anyone out in the real world. And like I said, things like this, it really makes it worth it.
I was kind of curious with something like that when you say that people like say they watch your videos and stuff. I was wondering, do people ever stop you in the streets? Like, have you gotten that big yet? Where like ever? Like, has anyone ever said, "Oh yeah"? I haven't gotten that just on like a random day. The first time I ever experienced anything like that was at the Spirit Halloween flagship opening in 2021. It was my first year. I had done a year on YouTube.
And that was my first year going to the big flagship store opening. And I got there and I was kind of hanging out with a couple of people like I know that are good friends of mine who also do videos. And after like a couple of hours, like the first person came up to me and they were like, I watch your videos. And I was like, really? Like you do? And it was mind blowing to me. And I was lucky to say that probably like 5 or 6 people came up to me that year. Then at last year's store opening, it was more people, and I got more people came up to me, and I was like, "What? Like this is insane." Then the first time that it happened, not at the flagship store opening, was actually this year, my local Spirit location. It was opening day at one of my local stores, and I went in the store, and I was just ready to film a video. I had my camera, I was kind of setting up shots, and I noticed that there was another person kind of around my age that was there on opening day, just like me, just around the same time. And I noticed they kept kind of looking at me. And I was like, I don't really know. I have a camera. So most of the time people are like, what are you doing with a camera? And then before I started filming, they actually came up to me and they said, you're GM Haunts, right? And that was insane because that was here at my local stores. That was not just like at the flagship where haunters specifically go. That was at one of my local stores. And that was insane. So yeah, that was like that happened, and that was just here, like in my local town at one of my locations. That was pretty crazy.
Yeah, I can only imagine as you go on, it'll happen more and more. Like, for real. And I assume you're going to go to many events and stuff, so that's exciting.
Yeah. It's way awesome. And do you plan on making YouTube your full-time career, or if so, what's your future plans with it?
So honestly, like I said, when I started this, I didn't really have like my goal was just to kind of have fun with it and meet people and all that. And as time goes on, and like I said, this is my 3rd year doing this. Yeah, you really do start to consider, like, could this become something I just like do? Obviously, we live in a world where there's a lot of people who they make their full-time career, and it's definitely something that's interesting, especially when you start to see, because like I said, when you start, it's like you're starting from 0, and you're like, this is not going to work. I'm just making videos for fun. And then you start to get an audience and you're like, okay, like people are watching this. And then you start to do things like when the channel gets monetized and it's like, wow, like you can, you could make money from doing this, like, Halloween stuff. And you really do start to think, like, could this be something I could do? Honestly, I definitely would have interest in doing it. Personally, for myself, my long-term goal in all of this and everything I do, my long-term goal, and I hate that I keep bringing up Spirit Halloween because
that's your passion, man. That's right.
Like I said, like I'm a huge fan of them. My main thing is their ISCs, their themes. Like they have a display every year that changes every single season that they have in all their locations. Like I know you just brought up the Halloween Factory. I'm sure you know, but so I actually was pretty close with the last guy who was doing the designs for that since their very first display. He has parted ways with the company since 2 years ago. But I was really close with him, and I've had a hope for getting that job for many, many years. I do a lot of stuff on the side. I don't even talk about this really on my channel, but I actually use the same software that the company uses. I asked him, I was like, what software you use for designing? He just told me it's called Sketchup. It's this 3D design software. Not even joking. That was at one of their openings. 2 days after I got home, I downloaded the software and I started to teach it to myself because I want that job eventually. And that's kind of, you're asking, as for my career, that's really what I'm hoping is to eventually be their lead designer. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. But again, the channel is definitely an option too. And I wouldn't have an issue doing that. I love doing this as well. So I mean, the future has some possibilities in it for sure.
That's so cool.
Greatest advice I can give you, keep doing that. Like if that's your passion, I wish like at your age that I was doing that. Like, that's awesome, man. Like if you keep doing that, I could think you could succeed with that, especially I'm serious. Just keep going with it. Absolutely.
And with that program that you use, you said you taught yourself. Was it easy to learn? Like, is it easy so far? Have you had to use YouTube videos, or how's that process been?
There's definitely been, there was a learning curve with it, and I feel like every software, like no matter what it is, whether it's 3D, like I'm saying, or video editing or whatever it is, there is a learning curve. And especially nowadays, I feel like there is software available to anyone that is industry standard and can create ridiculous things. And I mean, like I'm saying, like this particular program called SketchUp is an industry standard. This is why the company uses it. So there was a learning curve to it. I'm not gonna lie, I definitely have watched a few YouTube videos to help me, and especially it'll be like I'll be working on something and I'll be able to do it, and I'll get to something and I'll be like, I'll either be like there'll be an issue with a model, and I'll be like, I have no idea why this is happening, or it'll be like I have an idea for like something I want to model, but I don't even know like how to do this specific shape or how to model it, and I'll have to be like, oh, YouTube's gonna be my teacher for today, and I'll have to study a few videos. But yeah, there's been a learning curve, and I wouldn't say it's super difficult. If anyone is ever interested in doing something like that, you can definitely pick it up and start to learn it on the way. You will have to watch a couple of YouTube videos, but you can. It's definitely open for anyone to try.
Well, that's amazing, and YouTube is the best teacher. I feel like
it really is.
Definitely used it for many things.
Have you considered like after high school and all that you might go and do like a trade school for that, or like just college in general, or anything like that?
Yeah, for sure. Because again, only reason I haven't taken like a real class is just because they're kind of hard to come by, especially where I am located. They're kind of hard to come by. 3D software modeling classes for my age. I'm starting to get to that area where it might be possible. But yeah, I definitely college would definitely be related to design and 3D and stuff like that. Like you're saying,
Cool.
Nice.
Well, that was a question I was really excited to learn kind of what your plans were, and that's great to get insight on like your future passions and all that. So thank you for that. And do you or have you collaborated, just for people watching, with other Halloween creators? And tell us about that, like content.
Yeah, so I definitely have, and like I said in the beginning, obviously I didn't even know anyone. Like when I got started with this, I was just like talking to myself, and as like I started getting an audience, I also started making really close friends that I talk to now every day. People I've met up with that like this is a real person. There's people I met in Utah that I live in New York, and people I met in Utah that like online that have become really good friends of mine that I've met up with multiple times in real life. And it's like I met someone in Utah and like they become a close friend. So yeah, as I've kind of met people, there have been people I've collaborated with. I actually know you mentioned Rick Thunder. I actually did do something with him. I want to say it was like,
so cool.
I don't even know. It was like a year and a half ago, maybe. I don't know. I did an interview with him because I was a big fan of him when I started getting closer with him on like a personal level. So I was like, hey, like let's do a video together, and he was open to it, and we ended up doing that. So yeah, I've done some connections with my own friends, and it's fun to do. I mean, if anyone out there gets into content creation and you start doing videos, always fun to do some collaborations with other people, because I feel like those are sometimes the best videos, because you have the best of both worlds, 2 content creators in one video, and I feel like you can really get a lot out of it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And you met 2 friends in Utah. We're also from Utah too, so we're like the perfect example.
Nice.
Currently where it is.
Yes.
Nice.
Something that I was kind of wondering along with those lines. So you got your swag that you made, obviously. Do you like exchange swag with other content creators and stuff? Because it'd be like a way to bond, I feel like. Have you ever done anything like that?
For sure. I haven't done it yet. And the only reason I haven't is just because like this particular item, this is like
awesome. I
only got this in like very recently. A lot of my stuff is kind of new, my merch. I haven't had it for a while. I really only got into making sure. Honestly, I just got into them for like I wanted to have a shirt that I could wear for my channel on it. Yeah. I do have some plans to do some stuff like that. I also want to get into doing merch giveaways too.
That'd be super
cool, because I feel like that's also a great way to kind of bond with people and get that stuff out there. So yeah, that's definitely something I want to get into.
Awesome.
Nice. And we love the merch. It's awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Going with that though, because this one's not on our questions at all. Like some of these haven't been. These have been winged. The pumpkin, where did you come up with that design? Like, and how?
So I actually, when I first started, I want to say it was from like my first like half year or full year. It was way longer than it should have been. I didn't have a logo. I had no idea what I was going to use. So I actually I think I Googled like Halloween pumpkin or something. I don't even know. It was something along those lines. And I found a clip art pumpkin that was copyright free. And it was just like drawing of a pumpkin with like an evil face and these like really creepy eyes. And I was like, I'll just use it. I just clicked on like save image and then just like uploaded it. That was all I did. Now I know that probably was not a good idea because I did not own that. But like I also said in the beginning, I was doing things that now I look back on and I was like, that was so bad. That was one of those things. I was like, I should not have done that. Luckily, I never got sued. I never got sued for that. But once I started to think about that, I really needed something that was my own. Yeah. I was like, I'm very much into kind of the purple and teal kind of color schemes. And I was like, I know Halloween is typically orange and black, but I really like dark purple and kind of teal and everything you're seeing here. So I was like, that's kind of what I want my whole channel to be revolved around. So I started doing this like illustration for this guy that ended up becoming the channel. I was like, I wanted to do a pumpkin that was kind of a mix between a pumpkin, but also a creature, UV reactive, also like blacklight was kind of the idea with it, those colors. And then just kind of like a wild, crazy pumpkin thing. And this is what I ended up coming up with after a few weeks. I did some different illustrations. There were some different versions it went through. And this is what it ended up being. And now this is what I use. I don't think I'm going to be changing it for a while because it's become my thing. But yeah, so it's kind of, it basically it sprouted from, I need to get away from this image that I don't own.
And so you kind of made the design for that whole thing and like drew it and everything.
Yeah. Wow. So yeah, it was all me. I do have to kind of give a little bit of credit to my dad is actually a children's author and illustrator. So he actually does a lot of it. He's an illustrator. So he gave me some pointers with it and kind of how to form it. Yeah. And that's how this guy came out.
Man, it's awesome. For that, right? Kudos to your dad.
Thank you.
That's awesome. We recognize GM videos just by seeing that.
Like the pumpkin is GM.
That is a symbol.
But going into that, what has there been like a favorite upload that you've made, like a favorite video you've worked on before?
Just why would you say?
Yeah, why is that your favorite video?
Man, that's a tough question, and I'm gonna be completely honest. That is the first time I ever got that question.
Really?
Yeah.
Barriers.
I feel like there's been videos that I made, and I was like, this is like my end all be all video, and then there'd be another one and I top it. Right now, I feel like my favorite video that I've ever made was my animatronic collection video that I did last year for 2022.
That one got a lot of views, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just like, I want to say like 4 days ago, it passed 100,000 views, and I was watching it and waiting for that, and then it did. And really, the only reason I say that's been my favorite video of all time since I made it was because since I started this and people started watching my videos, obviously I have a lot of props. People always commented and asked me, they were like, you have to do a collection video. A lot of people do collection videos. Like, you have to do one. You have to do a collection video. Yeah. And really the only reason why I was like hesitant to do it was because I was like, I'm kind of lazy. I don't feel like it's a lot of work. It's going to be a lot of work. But then last season, I was really like, a lot of people were asking me, a lot of comments, a lot of people in real life when I would meet up with people, they'd be like, you have to do it because it's something everyone does. So I was like, yep, I'm going to do this collection video.
I'll do it.
So I was like, I spoke to my parents and I'm like, you're going to have to help me with this one because this is going to be a lot of work. Yeah. And I got to give them full credit to both my parents. They helped me a ton with that video. It took around, the actual filming for it took around, because actually before that, we had to build everything in the living room so that it was the night before, so that it was ready to go out right early in the morning. So I built every prop that I own. Some of them are in my room. I just have to take them out, but there's a lot in the storage. I had to build 50 props all in the living room. And that took around maybe 5 or 6 hours just to get everything built. That was until like 10 o'clock at night. Went to bed, woke up really early. Both my parents, like all of us, we got up, started bringing everything out to the driveway. 50 animatronics at like 9 o'clock in the morning. We were ready to film by like 11 or noon, something like that. And I kid you not, filming wrapped up around 7 o'clock at night. It was a long day and there was a lot of filming. And then after all that, right when you're just like, including my parents, again, full credit goes to them. They had a long day of helping me do all this. Right when you're like, I am done. I'm so tired with this. It's literally pitch black outside. Now we're like, we got to get everything back in the house. So then it was about deconstructing everything, bringing it back inside. And then we were eventually done with it. And then the editing for that video, because the footage, it was a lot of footage. That took a couple of 5 or 6 hours too. Wow. So the reason I said that's my favorite video was just because it was one I was asked to do for a really long time. And it was one that truly my heart and soul was poured into. It took so much time to do. And I'm so happy that it ended up doing really well. I will say I'm going to 100% be doing one again this year. hopefully filming around October 1st. That's what I'm shooting for, is around October 1st to filming it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably my favorite video of all time. For now, 2020 will probably
We'll mark our calendars for that.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I bet your parents are stoked for that then.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like another full day.
What better way to welcome in the Halloween season, though? Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we gotta do that again. I'm like, no, we do.
The views. No, yeah, that video's great. As a fan looking in, I'll say my favorite video. If it makes you, like, we'll each say our favorites, I guess, because it's probably fun to hear on your end, I bet. I love the Jack Skellington 12-footer coming from Home Depot. Posted on my page your video, like, that it's coming out, tag me, whatever. But that got me really stoked because, like I said, I do a giant yard haunt. Got a lot of traction, and that's definitely one that we're going to pick up. And you were the first I heard it from. Yeah. And I feel like you report before a lot of other ones. So that was pretty exciting. That one, a lot of information. That was my favorite for sure.
Yeah, and I remember that day you released it. Fox texted me. He's like, GM released a new video of Skellington, like Jack Skellington. I'm like, okay, I have to go watch it.
Exciting.
But my favorite, I just love all your Home Depot ones because for us, I feel like Home Depot is like our store. It's like what Spirit Halloween is to you. So just every single one of those videos, like I'm right on it. I love those ones.
But yeah, you're giving the community what they need, like giving us the information. That's why we wanted to talk with you because we appreciate a lot that you've done. And so has so many other haunters I know. So that's kind of exciting to hear also what your favorite was. I was curious. That's what I wanted to know.
So awesome.
I guess our next question here, when did you start to notice your YouTube channel really gaining traction and like kind of taking off a bit?
Yeah, so like I said, I started in July of 2020, and it's definitely a slow start. And for anyone doing a YouTube channel, not even for Halloween, goes for absolutely anything. It's a slow start, and I feel like anyone will admit that it's a slow start before you start to see anything. And the main thing with YouTube is that you have to stick with it. You'll have videos that have 1 view, 2 views, or 0 views in the beginning, and no matter how much you put into it, it's a slow start, and you really got to build up and build up. But if you stick with it, you will definitely start to see growth, and you'll start to see something. I would say probably within 50 videos, my first 50 videos, I started to see I was getting over 100 views. And for me, I was like, 100 views, like I'm getting somewhere. And I feel like I was getting comments too. And when you start to see, obviously views are views. But I feel like also when you start to get comments, like I was talking about earlier, when there's kind of, you see that connection between a person, it's not just a number on a screen, it's an actual person. Comments are really, when you start to get people like writing about your stuff, you're like, oh, like people are actually like listening to what I'm saying and actually like giving their thoughts on it. So I feel like within my first 50 videos, I started to see some comments on each one, and I was getting probably like around 100 views on each video. And to me, I was like, I'm getting somewhere. And then it started definitely picking up. So I would definitely say for anyone who wants to start doing this, do 50 videos. That's kind of like my advice. Do 50 videos and see where you are. If you don't think you're going to get anywhere, do 50 videos and then analyze where you are and see how many subscribers you have, see how many views you have. And for most people, I would guarantee that you're going to be somewhere and you're going to say, I'm going to do more videos. And it only grows from there.
That's awesome. That's
great
good
advice. Like, a lot of people need to hear that, I'm sure, that kind of want to do this. I know it can be very frustrating hearing lots of stories, so it's good to hear that from an inside source, definitely for everyone.
I think that's a good way to approach it too. So perfect. And then also, have you ever been approached by like any resellers to promote their products at all? Yeah,
we seem like you get Spirit sent you some stuff from time to time, but like, tell us about anything like that.
Yeah, so like you just mentioned, Spirit does do some different things with me, and I'll probably be working with them again. I actually, last year, I also was super lucky, and thank you so much, Home Depot, again. I got to be part of their virtual media showcase. Wow. And I got to check out their entire Halloween lineup I think it was July 12th, and then they did their online launch date July 15th. So, and then after that, kind of as a follow-up, like a part 2, I guess, they sent me a box, and I was like, they asked for my address. They're like, we're going to send you something, but we're not going to tell you what it is. It's a mystery package. So then this box shows up at my house, and I'm like, the box is like it's like this big. I'm like, I'm like, what is this?
It's like a whole 12-footer.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to do it for the video. I'm like, I'm not going to open it. I'm going to open it on camera so I can get my first reactions.
Yeah.
And they sent me like a handful of their different products, not only for Halloween, it was also for Christmas, because they were doing their showcase was for Halloween and Christmas season. So it's kind of a mix of both things.
Okay.
So I work with Spirit. They've sent me stuff. I work with Home Depot. They've sent me stuff. I will say there's other companies that have offered to do different. I know you said kind of with products, but I kind of going off on a tangent. This kind of ties into both things. There's other companies that reach out to me offering for me to do partnerships with them to do different things that I end up turning down just because I personally don't believe they fit in with my channel as well as I really want them. I will say there was a company known as AXA Technologies last year that reached out, and they make a Halloween projector. And it's basically this projector that you can put in like your haunt or your display or anything like that. And it kind of projects these different Halloween videos, movies that they like automatically install on there. And they reached out to me and they were like, we have this projector and we think it might be cool. And we are wondering if you'd be willing to do a video on it. And I took a look at it and I'm like, this thing is actually pretty neat. They sent me some demo videos. I'm like, this is awesome. So they sent it to me and I got to do a video on it, and it's a really cool product. So yeah, I do get reached out to, and I will say for all of my viewers and for everyone who watches it, I have a very, very specific, I don't know what, I don't know, restriction maybe that I use when people reach out to me, because I know that there are real people watching my videos and I want to be 100% honest with everything I do. Yeah. So if a company reaches out to me and says, can you promote our product? I'm really going to look at this product, and it has to be something that I truly believe is good, and I would want my own viewers buying. And if it's not, then I'm going to unfortunately turn them down. So I try to keep everything something I legitimately like, so that it's all real. All the stuff I'm showing on my channel is stuff I really think is good product and is pretty cool. So yeah, that's kind of the story with that.
Yeah, and definitely excellent. With that is a lot of your channel too, like saying what you like, what you don't like, and all that, and that definitely gives us insight. Like we take that to heart, like when you're going Home
believe in
Depot,
the product and everything.
It just shows us kind of what we want on our wish list, so to speak. And I think that's something you're doing for the community. So that's definitely great that you brought that up. And so this one's kind of a random question. Just thought we'd throw one in. But I saw your Terrifier post and how excited you are for that. Yes. What would you say is your favorite scary movie? Not to sound like a scary movie.
That's a good question too. So I watch a ton of horror movies, like a lot, and like I was talking about before when I started, I've watched that for my whole life, even though it might not have been a great thing. My parents were really supportive with my love for Halloween. And obviously, we started off with super tame movies. Obviously, I wasn't watching Terrifier when I was 6 years old. But we started off kind of slow, and it started kind of building. And I just love horror movies. I watch as many as I possibly can. And there are a lot that I think are really awesome. Like you just said, Terrifier. I'm a huge fan of the Terrifier series. Actually, right here.
Oh, there it is.
Terrifier blanket.
Oh, there it is.
Nice. So as for my favorite horror movie of all time, I kind of want to say I have multiple favorites that are for kind of different types of horror movies or different things. Like, for example, original Texas Chainsaw Massacres. Obviously, it's a classic movie. It's regarded as one of like the original classic horror movies. I love that movie. It's fantastic. The feel of that, and it's such a classic film. I love that movie, but also newer movies, I'll say. And it's not now. Movies like Get Out from Jordan Peele. That is a fantastic psychological horror movie. I'm a big fan of Jordan Peele. Us that he made too, it was great. So I feel like I have a lot of favorite movies. Halloween 2018. I know not everyone was a big fan of David Gordon Green's trilogy for Halloween, for continuing it. I personally was a huge fan of it until Halloween Ends.
I was going to say, did you like Halloween Ends? Because I hated it, bro. I can't.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Halloween Ends. I feel like a lot of people, like you guys, were kind of thought that went off the rails. Yeah. But Halloween 2018 was one of my favorite movies of all time. That was, in my opinion, the perfect sequel to the original Halloween. And that was when that movie came out. Obviously, I was following it with the trailers. We hadn't gotten a new Halloween movie for a long time. And I feel like the one before, like Halloween Resurrection, was the last one before Rob Zombie. So when trailers for 2018 started coming out, I was really interested. And when that movie came out, like, I cannot describe that feeling. When I first saw that in the theater, when I saw Halloween 2018, I was blown away. Like, that is still one of my favorite horror movies of all time. So I also love like the Saw series is fantastic as well. So I have a lot of favorite movies for a lot of different types of horror films. Again, like I mentioned, I'm a huge fan of the Terrifier franchise. I know some people in the community in the horror world are like, Terrifier is just a grindhouse movie. I'm not that kind of person that just likes like a ton of blood and guts just for like the sake of it. I like storyline and stuff, and like I said, that's why I like a lot of different movies. I love Terrifier because of Art the Clown is a fantastic character.
Well, he's kind of like the first symbol in a while, you know, like that's how I feel like Michael Myers, Fred, and all those. So that's kind of what I saw stood out with that. I like the second one more personally. But.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, I have a lot. I know I didn't really give an answer. I would say I'd probably give you like Halloween 2018, or I also love Halloween Kills, the sequel to that. Halloween 2018, though, one of my favorite movies, probably my favorite horror movie of all time. It's fantastic.
I do have to ask, going on the vein of movies, it's quite the opposite of everything you mentioned, but I was just wondering if you were like excited for the Haunted Mansion movie coming out by Disney, the new one.
Yeah, so I honestly, probably people or you guys or anyone watching this might be upset at me. I wouldn't say I'm like so excited to see the movie, and that's just because I know there's a lot of people in the horror and Halloween community that are like huge fans of Haunted Mansion, the ride. I'm not gonna lie, I've never been able to like. I'm not gonna say I don't like it, but I've never been able to get into it. Like I don't. I know there's tons of characters and all this stuff that people are like diehard fans of Haunted Mansion. I know personal friends of mine who I met doing this, and then I like learned that they were diehard fans. And I'm like, I don't get it because like I never was able to get into it. So I wouldn't say I'm like the most excited for it just because I don't know a ton about the ride. Obviously, I know the main. I know Hatbox Ghost. I know like the main characters.
The main ones.
Yeah. Okay. I'm definitely excited. I will 100% see it. I'm definitely excited to see how they do it. I know Jamie Lee Curtis was Madame Leota, I believe, was cast for it. So I'm interested to see her. And obviously, with just talking about Halloween, I'm a big fan of her. But yeah, I'll definitely be checking it out. I'm interested to see how they do it.
Yeah, I was just curious because it's like Terrifiers on this end, you know, and then that. So I wanted to see where you were on this. I like it all. So I do love Haunted Mansion, but I totally get where you're coming from. Like everyone's different, you know. So I'm on that end, you're there, but I get where you're coming from because I'm on that end with Terrifier and all that kind of more terrifying stuff. I love.
You know, it's so funny. It's so funny just talking about movies, and you're saying how like I'll have the Terrifier blanket. Not even a joke. Like an hour before I started doing this interview, before I got home, me and my parents just went to see Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
It was so good. So
so I watch a lot of movies. So yeah, I'll watch like Terrifier 2, which is this like insane movie. And then like today I'll just go see the new Spider-Man movie. So I watch a lot of stuff. But yeah, I wanted to bring that. It's funny. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. And do you have high hopes for Terrifier 3 coming out?
Yes, I do. And I was like you just said, you saw my post about it because and kind of the story behind that post. That was on Friday or on Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, it was one of those days.
Yeah. I was in my algebra class and I'm like, the day was about to end and I pull out my phone and I'm on Instagram and I see that Damien Leone, the director, officially announced it. And I was like I've been waiting for that. So I had to post about it. I was like, I need to post about Terrifier 3. I'm definitely excited for it. And obviously, he also, with that announcement, they announced a higher budget because obviously Terrifier so far it was independent movies that were just done by these guys, like Damien Leone and David Howard Thornton. It was independent. And now after Terrifier 2 is like huge success for an independent movie, I believe they announced 7-digit or 7-figure budget for it, which is like crazy. It's crazy. So I do have high hopes for it. I'm crossing my fingers that Damien Leone doesn't drop the ball with it. I don't think he will. I'm a huge fan of his, and I don't think he will. But I'm just hoping that now with a higher budget, they can still maintain the feel of the independent Terrifiers, because I don't want it to be a thing where now it feels like a Hollywood movie. Because I feel like one of the things with it is that it feels kind of independent and it feels smaller. But I do have high hopes for it, and I'm very excited to see it.
That's awesome. Well, fingers crossed that it's good.
I agree with you there, though. Sometimes Hollywood gets something that's beautiful, and then they destroy it.
So we're keeping those high hopes up. But also with like talking about Haunted Mansion and everything, I think it's a good way to segue into like, have you ever been to any theme park like Halloween events, like Universal's Halloween Horror Nights, Knott's Scary Farm, or even Disney's Not So Scary Halloween parties?
Yeah.
And if so, what are your favorites?
I haven't been to Halloween Horror Nights, and it's something obviously I would like to do. I feel like it's on every person who like loves this stuff. It's like on their bucket list.
Yeah.
Because Halloween Horror Nights is a huge deal. I actually haven't been to Not Scary Farm either. That is another one I really want to go to because it seems fantastic. Yeah. I do go to a lot of haunts every season. Actually, living in New York, one of the probably the biggest haunt that's near me in Pennsylvania is Reaper's Revenge. It was voted like #1 haunt like a couple years ago, and every year it's like within top 5 for the entire United States. Fantastic haunt. I actually know the main guy who runs that. Reaper's Revenge is a cool haunt. I try to go to new ones every year. Just last year, I think I visited like 2 or 3 like new ones I've never been to, and I always have a fun time. I mean, haunts are great. There are definitely ones that are better, but my personal opinion with haunts is that everyone will have something that's very special to that specific haunt. There are ones that maybe feel a certain way or will have a very cool attraction, but maybe there's something else I don't love. But then I'll go to a different haunt and I'll be like, they like master or whatever it is, like this specific room. I also like going to different haunts because you'll go to ones. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of tired. Even though I love clowns and clowns are my favorite thing. With haunts, sometimes when I go to like 2 haunts, like for the season, I'll be like, I don't want to go to another clown themed haunt because I'm just like bored of it. So I like seeing different themes and different attractions and going to different haunts for that. But yeah, I try to go to different ones every year. I feel like it's a staple of the Halloween season, and there's nothing better than like going to a haunt and one that's outside, and you're just like in October with that chill in the air, going through a haunt. Love that. I love it.
Whenever that hits, you're like, oh, it's the best time of the year.
Me excited, bro. September to October. But, if you ever, like you have a friend in Utah, if you're ever this way, you got to check out Nightmare on 13th. Yeah, it's like a nationwide in the top 10 best haunted houses in America. It's so good. Heavily themed. Just amazing inside. Yeah, they also have one called the Haunted Forest here that's outside. That's really good. But yeah, if you ever find yourself in October, check them out for sure.
That's cool.
I want to go to.
And I guess kind of in that same vein, I'm sure you've been to a lot of expos and cons and stuff with Halloween. Tell us about some of your experiences there.
So yeah, actually, I was just recently in it's February this year. I'm confused because most of the time, every other year it's been in March. This year is in February. The Transworld Halloween and Attraction Show is huge in the Halloween world, absolutely giant, and it's always been something I wanted to go to. They have everything is pro there. It's all professional for pro haunted houses, pro animatronics, pro masks, pro makeup, everything, pro everything. It's really cool. And I've always known about it and I've always seen the videos, but the issue was that you have to have some kind of credential in order to get into the show. You can't just be like a guy on the street and you're like, I want to go. You can't. So before I started doing the channel, I was like, I always wanted to go, but I never had a way to do it. So then now I'm now starting to do this channel. I was like, the channel qualifies because they let content creators go in there and do videos. So if you're in the Halloween content creation world, I guess, you can actually do it. So I was like, well, now we can do it. The issue with all this, now I'm able to go. I'm excited to go. It's in St. Louis, Missouri every year, and I live in New York. Oh, so I talked to my parents. I'm like, we got to go to this show. And they're like, it's in St. Louis. And I'm like, yep. So it took a couple of years. Like I said, I started this 3 years ago. But then this past season, this February, we finally were able to go. We flew out to St. Louis. It was February 2nd through 5th, I believe, were the dates. And we did the first 2. We were there for the first 2 days. Fantastic show. You asked before, my favorite video I've ever made. My Transworld Halloween show tour is probably around my 2nd or 3rd favorite, just because it is an amazing show with, like I said, so many amazing animatronics and masks. Everything is so impressive. And they actually have an entire area called the Dark Zone, and it's all pro animatronics, completely in the dark with all lighting and everything. It looks like a haunt. It is incredibly cool, and it's awesome. And it was a ton of fun because I actually got to go with a bunch of my friends who I'd met doing this as well. So we all met up in St. Louis. We're going to go to the show, and we all met up there and got to film videos together, hang out together. We actually, me and like 5 friends all specifically booked the same hotel so that we were all in the same hotel. We got to hang out for 2 days. It was amazing. It was a ton of fun. And yeah, it was a great show. I mean, it's super cool. I don't know if I'll be going next year just because it's a big thing to do because there's flying involved and hotels, and it's a kind of a big project, and it's a lot to put together, especially me still being in school. I got to take a bunch of days off, but it was an amazing experience this year. I'm very glad I was able to make it out there. And for anyone who can ever go to Transworld Halloween, I definitely recommend it. And actually, they just announced like only 4 months ago that they are opening one here in the Mideast, which is amazing, just in Pennsylvania. That will be the company is called Transworld, a Transworld Halloween show in Pennsylvania. So that one I'll be able to go to. Nice. But it's a fantastic show.
Man.
Awesome.
And would your parents be up for going again if you were going?
They would. They enjoyed it. I wouldn't say they enjoyed the flying and all the work that we had to put in for it. But once we were there and everything, even though they're not as into Halloween as I am. I feel like anyone can enjoy that show because it's all giant things and super cool looking masks. They have live makeup demos for haunts going on, so you can just watch those. Even people like them, they aren't incredibly into Halloween like I am, but they had a great time and they loved looking at these giant flying things in the air that are like hovering over you. They had a fun time. Yeah,
that's awesome. And is there a favorite event that you've been to out of all like the Comic Cons, theme parks, just anything?
So I would probably say I really enjoyed that show. It was a lot of fun. Like I've been mentioning, the Spirit Halloween flagship store opening that they hold every year is their main store. That's always a fun event to take part in because there's festivities going on and I get to meet up with a bunch of people, and then it leads up to the store actually opening. As of right now, I'd probably say the Transworld Halloween show, just because it's wild. I mean, it's huge, it's crazy, it's loud, but it's cool. It's cool.
And make some good connections there, I'm sure, with all the haunted
100%,
around the world or America and all that. So that's exciting. Definitely something I want to do. So I've been thinking about going next year.
Yeah,
it'd be a lot of fun. Sure. You kind of answered this question earlier, but I didn't know if there was anything you want to add to this because I went over that as Spirit Halloween for sure, but favorite place to buy animatronics and decorations and why? Is there anything you'd like to kind of add to why Spirit? It sounds like it's your favorite.
I would actually say that I don't know if I have a favorite company just because I feel like every year, especially since like 2020, I feel like 2020 is when we started seeing it. Every year now, there was I feel like one more company getting involved. And I feel like 2020, Home Depot came up with their 12-foot skeleton. And that really put them on the map.
Literally.
it went insane. Everyone went bonkers. And then I feel like 2021, their lineup was good in 2020 with the 12-foot skeleton. But I feel like 2021 is really what set them off. Like they were going insane. Last year was absolutely wild. And then I feel like now, it was Spirit and Home Depot kind of going back and forth. Yeah. This year, we're seeing the emergence of Lowe's. And I'm not going to lie, based on what we've seen, I am a huge fan of what Lowe's is working on this year. They look incredible. Pneumatic props, a 12-foot scarecrow, it's amazing. A 9-foot zombie groundbreaker, this is wild. This is really cool. So honestly, I feel like as for my favorite, I over the last couple of years, especially this year, I'm buying from every company because there is something or multiple things that I enjoy from everyone. I feel like everyone has really been putting forward something great, and I'm excited for this season just because I feel like there's a lot to buy this year. And maybe there's not a favorite company just because there's a lot of options, a lot of really good stuff out there, and the market, in my opinion, is the best that has ever been for props, decorations, and animatronics.
Awesome.
I agree. And I think we both can agree with you that Lowe's is really surprising us this year because usually it is Home Depot for us.
Yeah, but there's more Lowe's that I want this year than Home Depot. I know this may be bad to say, but I'm not a huge fan of the Ghoul looking thing from Home Depot this year and stuff. I felt like with the 12-footers they've been putting out, especially this last year with the 15-foot Phantom, the 12-foot Witch, I thought their game was up. I was expecting a little bit more, but that Jack Skellington kind of saved him in my opinion this year.
Home Depot's coming back.
There's a lot of Lowe's stuff I'm looking at this year. But, going in that vein, I was wondering, which of the 12-footers, the 15-footer, all these things that came out, which one's been your favorite overall, would you say? Since it's a dime a dozen now. This company.
Honestly, I was impressed, like I said, in 2020 when Home Depot released a 12-foot skeleton because it was nothing we had ever seen in the retail market. Like I was just talking about with Transworld, the pro industry had been doing giant, big, impressive stuff like that for a while. But in retail market, we had never seen anything bigger than like 7, 8 foot. That was the biggest. So then Home Depot was like, we're gonna come out with a 12-foot skeleton, and everyone was like, "Whoa!" Like that.
At that point, like the T-Rex skeleton,
exactly,
was the biggest that I've seen.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like, and then obviously in 2021 they released Inferno Pumpkin Skeleton. 2022 last year they came out with 15-foot Phantom, and it was like, okay, we're getting bigger. So in my personal opinion, like actually you were just saying, you're not a big fan of the Ghoul. I know a lot of people are very, very, very excited for the 12-foot bat that Home Depot has this year. It's interesting looking. I'm not gonna lie. If you're a big fan of it, then I apologize. But that's exactly how I feel. I was kind of expecting something crazy, something really, really insane, and it is cool.
Prediction video, right?
Yes, exactly.
Iron stuff. Exactly. That's kind of what I was expecting, something like that. But. Yeah,
exactly. And I don't know. And I feel like it's cool. And obviously it's cool because not only is it big, it also has those really wide wings. So they kind of are going big in both directions. I don't know how I feel about it though. The face on it is not my favorite. And I feel like if the face was better, I would have really enjoyed him. Yeah. As for my favorite, I think as of right now, my favorite is 12-foot Witch. I think that was perfect in every way. The audio was fantastic. The lighting that they implemented on there was cool. The face was awesome. And even just the whole structure of her looking like she was floating was so different. And I feel like that's the thing. With the bat they have this year, he's cool, but he's like standing again. The Witch was so different. It was not a stand. It was supposed to be on a broom. That is probably my favorite so far.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
And not throwing any shade at Home Depot because I love them. I love them, like we said. But I'm just, that Wendigo too, I'm just not sure what happened with that one.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I honestly, that thing is, when I first saw the photo of that thing, I was like,
what is this? And
honestly, it's so disappointing too because it's like, Wendigos are something that we like really never see in the Halloween market, like very, very rarely. I don't think there's never really been a real Wendigo prop. So it's like they were going for it, they were trying it, and then I don't know what happened because the team there, like I said, I was able to work with them last year on some things, and I got to talk to a lot of them. They have a fantastic team of really creative and awesome and nice people. For that thing, though, I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Well, it's like this part of it's kind of like something went wrong, man. It went through a mad science laboratory or something. I don't know. But it would have been good if they just kept it going from this up, but they didn't. But I love Home Depot, like I said. So let that be clear.
Home Depot at all.
Always there 5 a.m. when.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
We got the Witch last
Witch skeleton. I went just to get the Witch because I was on a bit of a budget, but I dipped mad into savings. I got the Reaper, the Witch skeleton, the creepy dude. I forget what he is, what his official name is, and a bunch of other crap, man. It was
creepy one with the pumpkin,
the alien looking head.
So. Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, we put him in a tent in a campground. So
that's cool.
And with those 12-footers, and like just the big props in general, I just want to hear your opinion on it. Do you ever think it's going to come to a point where there's just like an overwhelming amount of it, like too many? Do you think it'll ever get to that point for you, at least?
Honestly, yeah. I'm not gonna lie. The thing that's kind of I don't know. The thing that's kind of weird about it is like you're talking about Lowe's, and I really, really like Lowe's this year. Yeah. But now we're seeing them do it. And also Sam's Club has a 12-foot Reaper. And it's like everyone has a 12-foot thing now. And it's like it is already starting to become like, again, the Sam's Club 12-foot Reaper. I like it for the price point. I believe it was only like $200 or something. It's a good price for a 12-foot thing. But I'm like, I don't care for it in terms of like look. It's like it's just another 12-foot thing. And that's what I don't want to happen. I don't want there to be too many things where it's like it's just another 12-foot thing. Yeah. So I like what Lowe's did because they released their zombie groundbreaker they're releasing. So it's 9-foot zombie groundbreaker, but it's only 9 feet. So it's big enough where it's like, wow, this thing is big and it's going to be imposing in real life, but it's not 12 feet. So it's a little bit different. Mm-hmm. I kind of hope that either companies start to do different things, different heights, slightly different, so that not everything is just 12 foot, because I feel like everything now is like how big is it? And they're like, oh, it's 12 feet tall. I'm like, that's not that cool anymore.
Yeah.
But it's like, I feel like it's like in the beginning, it was like, oh, this is so cool. It's 12 feet tall. And then it'll be like 4 years from now, it'll be like, oh, like Walmart has a 12-foot thing. And I'll be like, oh, so actually they did have a 12. Walmart has a
10-foot
thing. Yeah.
So yeah, I guess it honestly for me, it kind of has gotten to that point. It hasn't gotten to it where it's like annoying to me yet, but. I also like Home Depot did the 15-foot Phantom even bigger. I have a feeling, in my 2 cents on that whole situation, why they didn't do it again this year, because I was fully expecting for them to do another 15-footer this year. Yeah, is I have a feeling they were running into issues with how big it was.
Like wind and I know there was. I know with the one in my yard, I could see it like just.
Yeah,
it's going crazy with sand and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I think that they saw issues with it after last year, and I also think that thing was a lot to manufacture with their company SEI they're using. It was a lot, and I feel like they wanted to have a 15-foot thing, and I even think they were probably looking to do it again, but they didn't. And I don't know. I have a feeling it's just because it almost got to the point where it was too big. Yeah. I'm hoping that maybe at some point in the future they have the technology or a way to make it even better so that they can go taller. I don't really know where they're gonna. I don't know if eventually it'll be like there's a 35-foot skeleton, but yeah, I have a feeling that's why. It's just because there was issue. There was some. It was cool, but I think they're running into structural things with it. But yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I'm just picturing like all these yards, like at some point it's just going to be these giant figures. You can't even see the house anymore. So I had to ask that question just to see what you thought. But talking about props, we know you have like a lot of props there. You can see some in the background right there.
Better than our studio. We threw this one together because
that's cool.
Yeah, mine's in storage right now.
I'm moving right now. So
pardon that.
This is our like temporary one.
I like that.
Between 2 furries, like Jack Alpha.
Yeah. But what was your first prop? Like, what started this whole collection?
Yeah, so it's kind of cool because my first prop I actually got for completely free. This ties back into what I said all the way back in the beginning with how me and my family became good friends with the manager of my local Spirit Halloween. Yeah. He has, obviously, at the end of the season, he had broken animatronics from the display. And I want to say he had like 2 or 3 of them. And one of those was this prop, the Spirit Halloween pop-up zombie toilet. It's exactly how it sounds. It's a toilet that it had the covers on, and then when activated, the zombie head pops out. It's a pretty cool jump scare. It's pretty creative. And it was broken, though, so it didn't pop up anymore. He was kind of just stuck in the up position. So he had him, and he was like, obviously, I didn't have anything like that. I just was into it, but I didn't have anything. Yeah. And he said to my parents, he was like, "What do you think? Like, would you guys want this?" And I was like, yeah, I need it. So he gave it to me. Like he was like, just take it because it's broken and we don't need it anymore. So that was technically my first prop, and I got it for completely free. I still have him. To this day, I actually never was able to fix him. Eventually I would love to be able to repair him and have my first prop functioning. But I do still have him. He actually is in storage, just because I don't have him out on display right now. I don't have space for him. Yeah. But that was my first. It's such an obscure prop because like it's such a strange animatronic. But when people ever ask me like, "What's your first prop?" I'm like, "The pop-up zombie toilet." I'm like, yeah, it's weird, but that's my first prop. So
I feel like that's the best first prop you can get. It makes for a good story. Everything.
I can't even remember my first prop.
Yeah,
so there you go.
He just probably like buckets.
Yeah.
He drew faces on buckets.
When I was like 5, that's how I started. My dad took me by this house that did like Hollywood style stuff out front. Really that inspired me, so I just got ice cream buckets and started painting faces on them and putting them in bowls.
That's awesome.
That's mine, I guess, but it's not even real. But I guess going in that same vein, because we really want to talk about your props and stuff, because that's the main thing with your channel, especially with collecting all this stuff, talking about it. What would you say is your very favorite prop and why?
So this is kind of a question that I had a set answer for many, many years. And then last season, there was something that kind of shook me up a little bit. And I was like, I don't know, it might be my new favorite. Forever. Since I got into this, since I was very, very young, my favorite animatronic was the Spirit Halloween 2013 Wacky Mole Clown. He was this clown, kind of as the name implies, he was based on the Whack-A-Mole game that you see at a carnival. And he was neon colors with a big smile on his face, holding a hammer that you would use at a whack-a-mole game. And I'm not going to lie, I kind of feel like the reason he's my favorite was because he was one of the first ones I saw back in that 2013 when I first saw the store. He was one of the ones right in front. And I feel like maybe it's a psychological thing that he was one of the first ones I saw, and he became the one I absolutely loved. So I never had him because he became really, really rare. Once I started collecting, he was like 3 or 4 years old, and of course he became like one of the rarest props of all time. So I'm like, I can't even have him until 2019. I searched for him many years on eBay. Not even a joke, every day I would look and look and look, and they would come up, but they would be hundreds of dollars. They'd be completely out of my range. I would save up money, and then eventually one day in 2019, one came up. I was able to pick him up, and I owned him. That was my favorite prop of all time. Yeah. Last year, though, Spirit came out with this guy right here.
That one right there.
And when I saw him, he has a lot of the same qualities that Wacky Mole Clown has. He has the big smile. He has the neon colors. Anyone who knows me well, I love bright clowns. Like neon clowns are my favorite things. I love them. So when I saw him for the first time, I was like, instantly, I'm like, he's my favorite of this year. 100%. He was my opening day purchase for the flagship store. But I was even like, is he my new favorite of all time? And honestly, to this day, I don't know. It's a toss up. I love them both. I think they're both fantastic. I actually know a lot of people even don't like this guy. I really enjoy him. I love the colors. Yeah. I love everything. Another one of my favorite props that isn't a Spirit Halloween prop is the mutant that Distortions Unlimited has out there, a pro company. Love the mutant. He is this giant, he's like he's more like 7 feet actually. This giant monster, and he's kind of strapped on a metal board, and he shakes around. He has chains on his arms, so it makes it look like you check it out. Yeah. Pro animatronic, fantastic. I love the sculpt on him. Everything Distortions makes is top of the line. It's amazing. They are such an impressive company. He is my favorite professional animatronic.
Awesome. That's awesome. And with the most favorite prop, we have to ask, what's your least favorite?
Yeah.
Either that you know.
My least favorite is we were talking about the Wendigo before, and that thing I really don't like. I don't think I would say he's my least favorite, but Spirit Halloween's Johnny Punk, they released in 2020. He was a big fail on Spirit's part, and I feel a lot of people like despise him. He was the clown on a swing, but the thing that made him so bad was his audio. Like I feel like a lot of props fail with the audio. They can look really good, but their audio is bad and it messes up everything. He's probably my least favorite of all time, just because audio was so bad. He also looked pretty bad too. But yeah, I'm happy to say that. There aren't things that I hate most of the time. Most of the time, there are things I just don't like. Yeah. But I'm like, they're tolerable. Johnny Punk is one that I hate. He's one that I hate.
Oh, man.
So I guess, we just, before this interview, we watched the video,
it was the Halloween costumes.
Yeah, I just watched that, and I know that you were saying that about audio with the Headless Horseman. Yeah. I'm in agreement because there's so many props that it's just like they get a guy like me talking to them.
Exactly.
They just don't sound like they look.
What they look like. But I guess before I ask my next question, I want to kind of know, you kind of went over this with your favorite prop, but I didn't know if there was another prop that you never obtained that you wish you would have obtained when it came out. For me, it was the Headless Horseman from Home Depot on the horse. I never got that. Yeah. And now it's like thousands on eBay for me to get that. So is there something like that for you?
There's always, after I got that Wacky Mole Clown, he was the one I wanted. But then I feel like there's always things there's grails that I have that I very, very much want. And I feel like one that I didn't get that I look for a lot now, and I haven't been able to find one yet, is Spirit Halloween's Crouchy, this big 7-foot clown. Huge, and he was 7 feet tall. He was also really wide looking. He was only sold in 2020. It was not that long ago. I was collecting full time back then. And I just passed on him. I passed on him, and now I look back and I'm like, why did I not buy him? I don't even understand it. I buy clowns and I didn't buy him. And now I'm upset that I didn't buy him. I also feel actually one that now I kind of upset I didn't buy. I didn't really was a huge fan of him during the season, but then I just saw a video of him from a friend of mine a couple of days ago who did buy him, and now I'm I really wanted him. Was the Smoldering Reaper that Home Depot had last year with the red robe. I wasn't a fan of him, but then I saw a video of him a couple days ago, and I was like, he's actually like really cool. Like, I don't know why I didn't buy him. That's another one I kind of upset I didn't buy, but he's cool.
He was an impulse buy, like I said when we went last year at like 5 a.m. And when I went just to get the witch, I saw that and I was like, he's too cool, so I'm gonna throw one of them on. Yeah, he's actually pretty like professional looking for what he is too, so I was impressed. But
he's just like grand. When you look at him, he's just so awesome. And I feel like when I saw that one in the video, it wasn't like a top prop to buy, like, but after seeing it, you're like, okay, this is a need. Like, you need this prop. It's too cool.
So it's the same thing for me. I saw his video, and I didn't really care for him that much. And then, I didn't care about him even during the season. But then I just saw an actual, like, video in someone's display. And I was like, that's pretty neat.
It's pretty
he's cool.
It's like,
it looks better in the displays than it in their videos. So we should go for this next. In the vein, again, of props. Most expensive prop that you've ever bought, like that you can think of right off the top of your head.
So actually, this one was this year. It was only December, I think I bought them. It was December or like something like that. It was actually the Distortions Unlimited Mutant Legend. So I was just talking about how my favorite is the Mutant. Distortions actually made a static version of that prop. And the reason I love the Mutant so much is because he's animated. I love the look of him. But he's $3,500. And at this time, I'm not buying a $3,500 prop. So when they released a static version, I had to buy him because I love the character so much. So I bought him, and he was $525. But Distortions does the thing when they release something new, they're actually on sale right away, which is one of the best things they do. I love that they do that. And then they're on sale for like the first month of release, and then they go to full price. He fully is $575, but I got him for $525 because he was on sale. As of right now, that's the most expensive thing animatronic I've ever bought. I feel like every year, like, well, not every year, but like I'll have something I spend the most money on, and then I'll spend something more, and then I'll spend. It's definitely it's not financially good to be in this hobby because it's like more and more expensive every year. But as of right now, that's the most expensive thing I bought.
Awesome.
Nice. And then with like your props, so the ones that aren't in your studio, I know you said you have storage. What does that kind of look like? Is it a garage?
Where you put in all this stuff?
Or like,
So I just recently, I've been looking into getting a storage unit just because I don't know. I feel like I need the space for it. As of right now, what I'm using, I have a pretty decently sized closet, and normally regular people use closets for clothes, but not me. I use it for animatronic space. So my entire closet is just filled with prop boxes. And as you guys know, prop boxes can get very, very big depending on the prop. So my entire closet is literally to the door is jam-packed. There's it's all prop boxes. It basically is a storage unit because everything in there is just props. That has a lot of storage in it. My basement also has a ton of stuff in it. I have a lot of prop boxes down there, and even my grandma's house. My grandma's gotten roped into this too. Her basement has a couple of props down there too. But I honestly, I don't love the idea of having everything in different places. That's why I've been looking into getting a storage unit. The only reason I don't have one right now is just because storage units can get pretty expensive, and it's kind of a big expense to pay for something that all you're doing is storing the stuff in. So as of right now, I don't have one. I would, if you spoke to me in a year from now, I'm probably going to say I do have a storage unit just because I feel like it's a necessity at this point because I'm getting more and more props. And honestly, after this season, right now I'm kind of maxed out with my closet and the two basements. I'm kind of getting maxed out because I can't just fill the entire basement with prop boxes. So I'm kind of maxed out a little bit. So I'm probably going to have to just invest in it and get a storage unit that's near me for that. But that's kind of what my storage right now is, just closet and two basements.
Okay. And do you like rotate out your prop?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So the thing with that is I'll buy, for example, last year I bought everything I bought during the season. Everything in my room right now is just 2022 products or props, all of it. It's all 2022 props. Basically, then what I'll do for next year is when I start buying 2023 stuff, when I get my first 2023 prop, I'll switch out one of them for 2023. And then eventually by the end of the season, everything in here will be switched out for a 2023 prop. So every year I kind of switch it all up with the new stuff I buy, and it'll get in here, and then my old stuff will just get switched out because I never do something. I'll never buy something new for like 2023, and then I'll just do a video unboxing and then put it back in the box. Like that's not what I do. Okay. I'll put it in my room and then it'll be in the room until I buy stuff for next year. So that's kind of what my switching out process is.
So like I read your written questions that I had you do and all that. I know, and obviously we talked about it, you don't do a display, like a yard display or anything like that. Is there a reason you don't do that? And have you ever considered maybe renting out a space in the future with all these props you have and doing like a small, like haunted house for kids or anything like that? Or what have you thought about?
So honestly, I really do. I want to get into doing something like that, either a yard display or like what you're saying, doing something, a bigger, on a grander scale. I really do want to get into it. Really, the only reason I don't is because, first of all, when it comes to the actual season, I tend to get really busy, and it's like I don't even have the time to actually like put my time into doing something like a display, because I know, like I'm sure you guys have found out, I know it takes a long time to put together a display and do all that, and I really would like to get into it. Another thing, a reason I don't do it is just because I love having the stuff in my room. And I honestly, whenever we like for the collection video, I hate taking the stuff out and then having to put it all in again. It's like one of my hated things is having to like move everything back into position. So if I did a display, I would have to take it all outside and then bring it all back in at some point. And I honestly, it's just laziness, honestly. Like, but I also kind of a third, this is a bigger reason why I don't do it. Personally, where I live, we don't really get trick-or-treaters just because we kind of live more in like, I don't want to say I live where no one is, but we live more out in the area where there's not a ton of houses. I don't live in like a close neighborhood, so we don't actually get trick-or-treaters. So even if I did do a display, I'm gonna get a couple cars pass by, but no one's gonna really come up and see it. And that's kind of like, I feel like if you're gonna do a display, you want people to actually see it. I know you said renting out. Renting out would be an interesting idea because I could definitely do that. And it is something I want to get into at some point in the future. So maybe in a few years, I'll do some kind of display like that.
Yeah, because I know definitely, like going in the vein, I've been doing it since I was like 5, 6, whatever, for years. So it does take tons of work. Like tons. Like I store all my stuff in my grandma's giant garage. It's filled to the ceiling now. It's a big garage too, so it's a pain. So we go down there because we're like a city over, like 10 loads. 15-minute drive both way, 30 minutes. So it adds up. That takes a couple days, just getting that. Then a whole like week and a half, whatever, to set it up. And then the worst thing, like going with your props, they're all pristine and well taken care of. Like it's a heart attack anytime I see rain clouds come in and stuff. Got to cover it. So we got tents that I cover the props with so we can still go during the rain. But I was reckless more as a kid, obviously. I didn't like care as much, so lost some good props there. But that would be hard for me when you have it so nice to put it out there. I was wondering, kind of like, is that what concern as well, with like the weather and stuff like that?
That's a thing too. Because honestly, if I ever did get into doing a display, it would be a thing where I'd probably, first of all, I was actually considering starting to do it this year. It would have to be a thing where I would do it for Halloween weekend, and I would only do it for 2 nights. And then what I would do is build it the day of the first night, have it up until, I don't know, 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and then take it all back in, kind of what I did for the collection video. And then for a second night, bring it all back out and then bring it in, just because I wouldn't be able to have it out overnight. Honestly, I couldn't sleep with that. And kind of what you're saying about the rain clouds, when I was talking about the collection video, when we filmed the collection video, we were waiting for a day where the weather report said that it was going to be like sunny the entire day. So when we were doing that and kind of starting to get stuff out, once every 50 props were out there, I was watching the sky so closely because I was like, if it starts to rain, everything will be ruined. Literally every prop. And if it starts to rain, there's 50 props out there. We're not going to be able to get everything back. So some stuff's going to get ruined. I was like freaking out. Luckily, it was a super, super nice day and nothing bad. Also, the wind was like freaking me out. On every prop. Like, it's an interesting behind the scenes thing. Again, like, people watch the videos and they don't know like the things that go into making it. A behind the scenes thing for the collection video is every single prop had a huge cinder block on the base, and I had to film it in a way where you wouldn't see cinder blocks on everything because I was like freaking out with the wind that something was gonna fall over. So yeah, that's a little bit of a tidbit for behind the scenes for that. It was crazy.
Yeah, like the wind, it's terrible. And that, like I said, that's often worse than the rain for sure. Because with the rain, at least I can cover it because I've invested hundreds of dollars to cover it and have it effectively run, because I do it the whole month, which is exciting, but nerve-wracking. I'm always looking at the weather app and stuff, you know. But I feel that 100%. So I don't blame you. I guess it would be nice if you could rent somewhere, because that's kind of like my dreams, to start renting somewhere so I don't have to worry about that. But definitely. I guess the next question, like, I know you haven't really created your own props according to the questions that I sent, but like, have you wanted to create some of your own props for the future? Like with the career choice, you're wanting to make it sounds like it, but like before that, are you wanting to create any for a display that you may do or anything like that? Has that crossed your mind?
Yeah, no, it definitely has. I want to get into it. I feel like the only reason I haven't is because as much as I know about like animatronics and stuff, I don't know a whole ton about building animatronics. And I've learned it's a vastly different thing to go to the Home Depot or Lowe's and like buy an animatronic to starting from scratch. Like, it's tough. And I would like to get into it. I know people who do it, and they're super talented and know how to do it. I also want to eventually get into figuring out how to actually like build mechanisms. That's something I really want to learn. So like you can actually build animations for animatronics and stuff like that. That's something I want to get into. Soldering and coding actual like mechanisms and math movement and all that stuff. I would definitely like to get into that. And I feel like building props could be a super cool thing to do, because like you have so much uniqueness. You can have something that only you have. And you could literally make whatever you want. Even if like a company doesn't release a thing you're looking for, you can just build it. And that's something I want to get into. Unfortunately, as of right now, I don't have the expertise to be building my own prop, but I would like to get into that. Yeah.
If you could create a prop, is there like, or if there's a prop that you want to see created, what would it be? Like your dream prop?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know if I have like a super specific thing. Like I said a couple times, I love clown animatronics. I think they're great for the most part. And I want to see, if I was creating something, or as for what I want to see created, I just want more creative and more unique clowns. Like I just said with the nozzles right here. I know a lot of people were not a big fan of him because he's kind of bizarre. He's not. He has nozzles for hands and shoots smoke. We're like, what does that? Doesn't make sense. I really like when the clowns get really weird and like just bizarre, like I said. So as for what I want to see or what I would want to build, I really want just creative clowns. Also, I just want creative stuff. I really want to see more bizarre props and things that are really weird, things we haven't really seen before. That's why I said with Home Depot's Wendigo, I'm disappointed it came out the way it did, because Wendigo was such a cool idea. We haven't seen Halloween companies dive into that. So I just want to see more creativity, more weirdness. I'm not going to lie. I do want to see more blood on props, because I feel like over the last couple of years, we have not been seeing these kind of blood props. We've gotten very, very family friendly. And I totally understand it. There are ones I like that are family friendly, and I understand there's a huge market, bigger than blood props. There's a huge market for it. But I would like to see one or two really kind of creepy because of how much like they're bloody. I would like to see that return in the market. We haven't seen it. I'm hoping, crossing my fingers, we see some stuff like that for 2023. But yeah, creative clowns. That's what I'd say. I want to see more unique clowns.
Awesome.
Those are some good animatronics there. And with your whole collection, do you have like an estimate of how much you've invested in it?
Yeah. So it's a lot. Like I said before, this hobby, people always ask, people ask me, like, would you recommend this hobby? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's super fun. But would I recommend it financially? I'm like, no, I wouldn't.
It depends if you like it in your account.
It's expensive. And you guys know, it's like buying props is expensive. And every year we are seeing an increase in price. And I understand where it's coming from. And I understand with the current state of the world and things going on, I understand why prices are increasing with manufacturing, all that. But we are seeing a steady increase, and every year it's like, wow, like we're seeing $300 props. It was like crazy when we started seeing that. Last year we saw $350 props. This year we're going to be seeing like $400 props. The zombie groundbreaker is $600. I'm like, that's $600 for a retail prop that's like not pro. Like, I'm like, this is insane. So it's getting more expensive every year. So I'm like, people who want to get into this, like, sure, but you might be financially impacted because it's expensive. As far as what I've invested in it, I've done this, like I said, for many years, collecting stuff and buying different props. I would say it's in the high thousands. It definitely is in the high thousands. Just because, like I said, not only I'm buying new props every year from different retailers that are new for the year. Maybe they have like a retail price. It's like just an average retail price. Then, like I said, with the Mutant Legend, I started buying more pro props, and I want to get into more pro stuff as the time goes by, just because pro props last longer, most of the time look better, high quality, that goes into last longer. So I want to start buying more of that stuff because there are professional props that I really, really love. But again, they start to get up there in price. And then also, I'm always buying rare animatronics on eBay and Mercari and Facebook Marketplace and websites like that. And those can also be more expensive because they're rare and sought after props. So it's definitely it's in the high thousands in what I spent. And it's crazy to think about that, like, I've spent that much money, and it's probably like unhealthy, but it's like, yeah, well, that's what I do, I guess.
So I get it.
This is what I do, but yeah, it's insane.
Well, with those like better props that you're hoping to get, I think if you continue this YouTube channel and stuff, you'll get endorsed more and more by the companies that you're wanting to. So might be saving some money there, so which would be nice.
Exactly, yeah. I'm crossing my fingers. I'm like, I need some sponsorships because I need to buy these. I need the money for the drop.
Yeah, no, your attitude and like positivity, I think, will go a long way. Like, definitely got that going for you. So
definitely
I think people will want to partner with you and stuff. So that's great.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. And so I know you mentioned that the Halloween scene in general isn't that like big where you're at because you're kind of sparsed out. But like, my next question was, what's the Halloween scene like in your area? Like, so just going with that, I guess, is there anything that's a Halloween tradition for you that you make sure you do every year kind of in your area, or anything that you like to do?
I love obviously watching horror movies on Halloween. That's like, a lot of people love doing it. It's awesome to see a horror movie on Halloween. I feel like, again, with that chill in the air, it's like October 31st. It's the perfect time to do it. I know I mentioned doing this before, but going to haunts on Halloween, also like right before Halloween, something I love to do. It's fun going to haunts when they first open in like August, but I feel like it's a little bit different when you go like right by Halloween. It just feels different. It's a lot cooler, and that's something I love doing every Halloween. I feel like also just putting out videos. I feel like doing videos around Halloween time is just so fun. Like, I love doing it. I love connecting with people around that time. It's like, I feel like I do videos 365 days a year. And then when it's like actually Halloween day, it's like the entire year build up is like actually happening.
So you do see like a big spike in October as far as views go?
I honestly, people always find this interesting, but it's like, I'm starting to see the spike and the increase now. And I get people always are like, really? I'm like, so basically, my general rule of thumb is July is always the biggest month. Now I start to see a slight increase. Obviously, I'm getting attention the whole year, but now is when I start to see like increases. July is when things really like start going wild, because July isn't like when sneak peeks start coming out for different companies, when stuff actually starts getting released. I normally have a few unboxing videos that come out in July because I'll normally have a few of the new stuff for next month. So July is the biggest spike, believe it or not, of the entire year. A lot of people will be like, really? That's like the summer. I'm like, yeah, Halloween. But July is like the biggest spike, and then that continues. August is really big. September is really big. Obviously, October is really big. But believe it or not, sometimes over my last 3 years of doing this, sometimes July actually ends up being bigger than October, because I just feel like July is when people really start to get into it, and I get a ton of attention during that month. And then, that continues until October. And then November is like huge drop off. But I do it the entire year. November is a big drop off. December, it starts to come back a little bit. And then by January, I actually start to see like regular viewers are coming back because they're watching when leaks are coming out and stuff like that. But like July through October is like huge spike for content.
And with July, do you think it's because of Home Depot, Lowe's, all those stores getting ready to release their product?
Yeah, it 100% is. And like, this is just an example of what I can think of off the top of my head. Last July, Home Depot did their online launch date on July 15th. I got to do their media showcase, which we did a couple videos together. So those were the Home Depot videos. I did my Goblin Thief unboxing July. I did my Teary the Clown unboxing because that came in July. I got my Spiro Halloween mystery package July last year, my Home Depot mystery package. So many things. Like it's like everything starts. The big deals start in July, and I feel like that's why I also think it has to do with I do a ton of videos that month, and that's people really start paying attention. So many things start happening, and I feel like that's what kind of leads to just like huge like spike and craze for Halloween in July.
So with me, like, do you ever wait? And I have a couple questions I think of. Do you ever wait, like I mentioned, go early in the morning to go to Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever? And does it ever piss you off as you wait, like at Target and all that, and you see back to school items and you're just waiting that Halloween comes?
So this is I haven't for my local. I haven't done it for Home Depot just because the way they run my Home Depot here is that they won't tell you when they're going to put out Halloween stuff. I'll ask and they'll be like, we have no, it'll be like the next couple days. And that annoys me because I'm like, they won't tell me. They'll be like, oh, it's going to be over the next couple days. And then like, I'll come back the next day and it won't be there. I'll come back the next day and it won't be there. And then I'll come back like a week later and it'll all be out. And I'll be like, oh, I missed it. So my local Lowe's does the same thing. I will ask them and they will have no idea. And then I'll go one day and it'll just be out. The real thing, I do it for my local Spirit Halloweens, but only like an hour. I'll get there like an hour. The craziest things I do are for the Spirit Halloween flagship store. It's become a thing over the last couple of years that there's always campers. My fellow friends are the ones who do this, who started this, and they camp out. This is how I'll explain it. In 2021, I went to the flagship store opening. I got there at 6 a.m. The store opens at 11. I was number 12 online. Open at 11 a.m. last year, I got there at 3 o'clock in the morning. No joke. I pulled up, me and my parents, 3 o'clock in the morning. The store opened again at 11 a.m. I was 125 online. I think 125. I have my badge right here. 139. 139. Insane. I don't even want to say what I'm going to be doing this year because I don't want to give anyone ideas so that they can try and do it.
It's on the download.
Well, we'll put it this way. Last year, there were people who camped out like in tents, and that's kind of why I ended up so far back because I only got there at 3 a.m. the day of. I didn't camp out. I will give a little bit of a clue that I will be camping out this year. I'm not going to say for how long, but I'm going to be in a tent this year. So anyone who's going to opening, I will be in a tent. So that's kind of the craziest thing I do. Because the only thing I'll say is that last year was like, it was insane getting there at 3 o'clock in the morning. It was literally pitch black outside, and I was 139 online. I will say that this year, like 2021 through to 2022, it was only a 6 hour time jump, or 6 hour. It was only a 3 hour time jump from 6 a.m. to 3 a.m. This year, I'm doing a much bigger jump in what I'm going to try and do, just because I want to be one of the first people in. So yeah, that's kind of that's the craziest things I do for a store.
It's awesome, man.
It's cool.
It's part of the fun. Just
it is
the chaos. Yeah. It's like Black Friday, but actually fun. So
pushing people over. Just kidding. And then also, I know you just barely kind of talked about it. So for Halloween season, do you have like any specific traditions other than the ones you mentioned, or for Halloween Day? I know you said you watch the scary movies. Is there a specific one you watch each Halloween, or is it a new one each time? Or just
I normally try to watch one that's new. I know a lot of people have like one movie they'll watch every Halloween. I don't really have like one, but I'll try to watch one that's like brand new and is like getting a lot of excitement or something, or one I've been waiting to see. If one came out, obviously a lot come out in October, I'll try to postpone it until Halloween Day, and I'll watch it on Halloween. Okay. So I always try to aim for a new one. As for what I like to do during the Halloween season, like I said, haunts. I also just love going to different stores like Home Depot, Lowe's, all those. Like that energy of going to the store and seeing the stuff in real life for the first time is so awesome. Like I love doing that. I love going to stores and clocking in as many trips as I can to every to every store. Like last year I went to Lowe's like 5 times. Like it's like I'll go to a lot. That's one of my favorite things to do, is just to frequent the stores during like the whole month of October and filming store tours for every single time I go. That's like one of my favorite things to do. That's become a tradition for me, is filming as many store tours as I can for every store during the month of October.
That's a good tradition.
Awesome. Yeah. Great content too. But I guess You kind of, what I like about this interview and doing this is we try to organize these questions in a certain way down, but we touch on a lot of the things I noticed before where it's kind of flow of conversation. But I also was kind of adding on to this one because you did mention, I was going to ask what, with your passion of Halloween, did you want to do with a future career? I was kind of just wondering more about doing haunted houses again and stuff like that. Is that something you want to do as in addition to designing for sure? And if so, what's kind of your vision with that?
I would definitely be interested in doing a haunt, and I would love to be able to design different attractions and different rooms and stuff. And that would be an awesome project. They were actually, from doing this, there are a lot of people, like I mentioned before, with the Reaper's Revenge haunt. I know the guy who does that. There's a couple of haunts that have actually become close with the guys who run it. And with these like haunts, like there's not a corporate team. Like the guys who do it they're the operators for the haunted house. They deal with ticket sales. They deal with all the kind of commercial and behind the scenes stuff with it, but then they're also designing it. So I would love to eventually get involved with a haunted house doing that. I have ideas that I think would be cool. And I feel like going to haunted houses, you get ideas and you're like, I would love if a haunt did this idea. And then you would love to be able to like work on that. So it's definitely something I would love to do. Like I said, I love clowns for animatronics. I actually wouldn't probably do something related to clowns for a haunt, just because, like I said, I like clown decorations, but when it comes to clowns and haunts, I'm normally actually disappointed with it. And I feel like there's not really a haunt that has really impressed me with clowns, and I feel like they got it really perfectly spot on.
Yeah.
So I probably wouldn't do clowns. I really like bizarre stuff. And truthfully, the things that scare me whenever I go to a haunt, the things that I really think are scary are kind of hillbilly, wood, chainsaw, stuff like that. Like kind of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but not really just that. Really like hillbilly stuff. Those are always my favorite things. So if I was designing a haunt, I would probably design it around hillbilly, like forest kind of themes. I love that stuff. Those things are always my favorite. I also, I love kind of just, like I said, like weird things that are really creepy, but not really like obvious. Things that are very creatures or stuff like that. I would love to do an alien haunt would be cool. I love alien stuff. But yeah, I feel like hillbilly themed haunt would 100% be the thing I would jump on, with like cabins and gasoline and like I don't know, things like that, things you would like associate with like hillbillies living in the woods. Those are the things I kind of like in haunts.
That's sweet. Absolutely. And the alien one kind of reminds me, Halloween Horror Nights, they have like their little sections on the walkways besides the haunted houses. They had an alien one, like I think it was 1 or 2 years ago. It looked pretty sweet. So I think there's some cool things you could like incorporate with that on there. Yeah. So, and aliens are great. And honestly, I feel like they're not touched on upon enough in the Halloween market, because they're such a cool character. And they, even though they aren't, I wouldn't say they're like super related to Halloween directly. Yeah. They're more of like, I don't know, like a supernatural do all year. Yeah. But I want to see more alien stuff, whether it's haunts or animatronics or decorations. Yeah. Aliens are really cool, and I feel like companies don't do enough of them. I would like to see more aliens. They're more obscure in the Halloween community. Exactly. I feel like. So it'd definitely be cool to see a haunt like that. Yeah. And then also, besides Halloween, what are some of your other passions or hobbies that you have or like to do?
Yeah, so like I mentioned with 3D modeling, I not only Halloween stuff, I just like 3D modeling. That's one of my things that I like doing. I like writing stuff. I'll write short stories and stuff like that. On my school, I'm part of Creative Writing Club, where we just write like creative different little stories and stuff. I'm a big pro wrestling fan, which a lot of people don't know. I'm like really into that. If I didn't do a Halloween channel, I would probably do a pro wrestling channel. I'd probably do an option.
Do you have a favorite wrestler?
Yeah. Oh, my favorite wrestler. Yeah. My favorite wrestler is this guy Jeff Hardy. I've always been a big fan of him. No one really knows about that because I don't talk about it on my channel. But that's kind of one of my second thing after Halloween is pro wrestling. So yeah, I mean those are really my main things outside of Halloween. Halloween is definitely the biggest thing in my life, but then outside of it, those things I mentioned. Yeah.
Those are some cool things you got there.
Yeah, that's awesome. I definitely with creative writing and stuff, I love to write. I'm actually writing a novel right now, about 60,000 words deep. So have you considered like Wattpad and putting your stories on there or anything, or what do you kind of want to do with that?
Honestly, I haven't. Honestly, I should definitely get into doing it, because like I said with my whole channel, the idea was to find more people. So if I did that, I can find more people who love writing and stuff like that. So yeah, I honestly should start doing that because that would be pretty neat. Like I said, as of right now, all I really do is like I said, this club at school, we kind of have like a group of people we meet every Thursday, and we'll kind of discuss whatever we wrote. That's kind of all. Those are the only people who kind of read the things I'm writing. But I should definitely get into that. That would be a neat idea.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
No, that's great. I love to write, so I can relate. Yeah. Definitely Halloween.
Would it be Halloween stories, or do you go on like all different genres?
Honestly, I definitely do write things that are on the horror side, and I like writing Halloween stuff. Actually, the last thing I just wrote for the club that we did was actually, of course, we were just talking about aliens. It was actually alien related.
Oh, really?
It was this little alien short story thing that I wrote. It was 2 pages. It was a short story. That's what it was meant to be. It was only 2 pages, but that was the last thing I wrote. I also just like writing about random things. It's not always Halloween stuff. Obviously, I like writing about Halloween stuff, but all kinds of different things. Yeah.
We'll have to check some of that stuff out, or if you want to share. Definitely love the community with that too. So
we'll read it, so you share it.
And so I guess kind of going along, is there anything else that you want the audience to know? Like anything you want to say about your channel? Anything that we haven't covered that you want to talk about? Stories or anything?
Yeah.
Honestly, just anyone out there, if you like Halloween, then keep loving it. It's a great thing. And as for my channel, 365 days a year, I'm gonna keep putting out as many videos as I can. Hopefully, getting better videos every single year and learning how to do this. But yeah, I mean, that's about it.
That's awesome. And I think our biggest question here
She's very excited about
I am so excited about this one. But where did you come up with your catchphrase? And can we just like close out the video with the catchphrase? Of
course. Yeah, of course. As far as how I came up with it, honestly, just wanted some, like I said with my name, it was like, my name was very simple. I just took my real name, the 2 initials of my real name, Griffin Miller. It was like, put haunts at the end. I was like, that was it. For the catchphrase, I just wanted something that kind of captured Halloween. It wasn't specific to one thing. It was like, because I knew I wasn't only going to do one kind of video. So I was like, something that can cover all things, everything Halloween, hence for everything scary.
Oh,
like,
there you go.
There you go. That's everything right there. But I feel like we gotta get it in. So
yeah, I'm ready.
I'll pull back a little bit so you can get the full view here. The full everything in the background, the jacket on.
There you go.
This is perfect.
So we'll be like, if this was a video, if this was a brand new GM Haunts video, I feel like Home Depot has been a big topic. Let's say there's brand new Home Depot leak, brand new animatronic. It would be like, for everything scary on GM Haunts.
Oh man, yes. Clap. That's our favorite. We love it.
Every time. Yes. Every time makes us smile.
It's the best YouTube catchphrase out there.
I appreciate it. And you know what the funny thing about it too? Like I was talking about how I look back on like my first videos and I'm like, I didn't really know what I was doing. If you go back to my first video where I used that catchphrase, so I've had that since my first video.
Okay.
I was like, I just said it like, for everything scary on GM Haunts. And it was like, that's all I did. And as time went on, I was like, it's more exciting if I put more into it. Like we're starting in a video and most of the videos are exciting. Like we're talking about a new prop or like a new leak or something. It's like, it's got to have some excitement with it. So I started, if you watch like a lot of my videos, like from years ago and then building up, each one has like more energy. And today it's like I go all out for my videos. Like, I gotta get like hyped up, and then I start the video with as much excitement as I can to hopefully get the audience super excited about what I'm talking about. And that's what we have right now.
Well, I've definitely noticed each time it gets like a little more energetic, and you're like, yes, GM Haunts. So. Yeah, thank you for doing that.
No problem.
Appreciate your time today, Griffin. Everyone, go check out his channel if you haven't already. I'm sure you have, but everyone go over to GM Haunts.
We'll link it in the description.
All that fun stuff. But we'll have Griffin here take us out with his goodbye that he's so excited for, and then we'll say goodbye ourselves.
Well,
thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. We really appreciate it. And take care. I hope you have a good rest of the day, and goodbye from us. And then
and just again, thank you so much. This was really neat getting to know more about you And it's just cool getting to talk to you because we watched your videos for so long. So
we helped get the message out there and all that. So.
And just keep it up. Keep up the good work.
Thank you so much. And seriously, thank you guys for watching the videos, for doing all that and keeping up to date with all of it, and for inviting me to do this. It truly was a pleasure. It was an honor. And you guys have a great idea doing this series, and I'm a big fan of it. So I will 100% be checking out everything you guys do. Thank you so much.
Well, I appreciate it, man. And we will keep supporting you. And like I said, everyone else do the same. For
yes.
Sure.
Go give love to his channel.
Thanks so much.
Right.
You want me to hit the goodbye too?
Yeah, hit the goodbye. Well, goodbye on our end. There you go.
Yes,
not as cool as your goodbye.
We'll say goodbye.